Greetings from Columbia, South Carolina, and welcome into Carolina Softball Stadium at Beckham Field, where SEC opening weekend continues. The South Carolina Gamecocks and the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky looking to sweep South Carolina on the road. Hello, everybody. I am Birch Antley, along with Dr. Megan Matthews-Bunning, All-American and SEC legend, and it was an All-American type performance put in by these Kentucky pitchers Friday and Saturday. Talking about Autumn Humes on Friday and then Grace Ballman on Saturday.
Kentucky definitely brought their A game, and particularly in the circle. Humes on Friday had an outstanding 2-hit shutout, and then followed by Ballman last night. I mean, she came out and only gave up 1 earned run on the night. Both of them did well.
Well, at the plate, it has been Alex Martens and Abby Cheek, and these two have been very, very good, and Kentucky as a team has been solid with 2 out hittings.
Yeah, and let's start with Abby Cheek. She came and showed out. Just yesterday, she went 2 for 4 at the plate, highlighted by that home run you saw, bringing in 3 RBIs on top of a double, and she's had a solid defensive outing at third base for them as well. But the real star for Kentucky is Alex Martens. Just this weekend, she's had 4 RBIs. She's been 4 for 7, highlighted by a triple. But the thing with her, she's been able to string together hits at key times.
Well, for South Carolina, it is going to be Kayla Drotar, the junior from Hartsville, getting the start, second start of the weekend. She took the loss on Friday. And you take a look at Kayla Drotar, and Megan, what is her specialty?
Yeah, well, you kind of see it right there. Kayla's going to stay in that mid-60s range. Her go-to is going to be her drop and her curve, but she has a nasty changeup. For her to be effective today, she's going to have to make sure that changeup is working and she's keeping it low in the zone.
Leading off, it is going to be the senior catcher, Jenny Shaper. She'll be followed by Kayla Kowalik, who's had a good weekend, and Abby Cheek and Alex Martens, who has been just phenomenal. Bottom of the order has been pretty solid as well, especially Lauren Johnson in the 9-hole. As you take a look at the Kentucky lineup, Johnson, the right fielder, batting .333 with a home run, a solo shot on Friday. Middle of this Kentucky order is really hot right now at the plate.
That's a good look at Kayla Drotar's changeup, and you see that she's throwing it early. Now, Kayla pitched part of the game on Friday, and then she went out. Of course, she hit with a line drive to her shin, finished the inning, and then came out, and we haven't seen her since. But that was a good shot of her keeping it low in the zone. Notice I said she's working it early. She's going to have to do that with this Kentucky lineup.
No balls, 2 strikes. The count to Shaper. Robert Guest, the home plate umpire today. Aaron Eller is on first, and Annette Bergman, umpire on third.
I have to give a shout out to the umpiring crew, especially Robbie Guest behind the plate. Crew chief, been talking to him in between games, getting some tips on rules and what is the exact rule.
There's Lauren Stewart, the center fielder, making the catch. She's got Kennedy Clark to her right and left, and then Haley Simpson getting the start today in right field. Simpson, the freshman. And the Gamecock defense, that infield from left to right. Jenna Johns, who has been really good defensively. Then Kinsey McGuire, the shortstop. Mackenzie Bozel at second. Madison Owens, another freshman, at first. And Anna Vest behind the plate catching for Kayla Drotar. Here's Kayla Kowalik. She's had a good weekend. 3 for 8 at the plate, including a double. She's had 2 RBIs as well.
Seems like the entire Kentucky lineup really has had a pretty good weekend. They've been tough.
It's been a tough weekend weather-wise up until today, thankfully. We've finally seen the sun. Warmer temperatures and nothing falling from the sky.
Well, good thing we're catching that on camera, because Seems like it's been months of just rain and dreariness, huh?
Two balls, two strikes, one out. And the count runs full. I'll try to keep Kowalik off the base paths, as this Kentucky team, they really can run, especially Kowalik.
Well, and then you think you certainly don't want any on the bases when Cheek and Martens come up, which is about to happen. That was a good out for Kayla Drotar right there.
Gets her first strikeout. Big pitch from Drotar.
Nice low pitch in the zone, outside part of the plate, and that's going to be key for Kayla, is just making sure she's consistent each inning, hitting her spots.
Now Abby Cheek, the South Carolina native from Inman, South Carolina in the upstate, from Chapman High School. She's had a good return home this weekend. Home run yesterday, her 5th of the year, and that put her 2 home runs shy of tying the all-time Kentucky record for most home runs in a career. She is already, Abby Cheek is, the all-time leader in RBI for the Wildcats. She broke that record the first game in March. Stabbed by the shortstop, Kinsey McGuire, and Kayla Drotar, and the Gamecocks put down Kentucky in order, 1-2-3. Megan Shorman getting the start inside the circle for the Kentucky Wildcats. 2-0 on the year. The freshman out of Hazelwood, Missouri. She's got an ERA at 1.69. Her last appearance was March 2nd against Murray State when she got a save. And her last start, February 16th, against Oregon. As you see the numbers for the season on Shorman, 25 strikeouts compared to 7 walks in 20 2/3 innings of work. And she had a season-high 9 strikeouts in a complete game win earlier this year against Sam Houston State. Kinsey McGuire to lead off, followed by Mackenzie Bozel and then Jenna Johns. Kayla Drotar, the pitcher, batting for herself in the cleanup spot. And it's Kennedy Clark, Lauren Stewart, who had a triple yesterday and an RBI, along with 2 walks in this series. Center fielder batting 6th, then Carly Heath, Haley Simpson, and Madison Owens rounding out Coach Bev Smith's lineup. Heath, Simpson, and Owens, 7, 8, and 9 in the Gamecocks order, all freshmen.
What we're going to see from Shorman is she's going to be the hardest thrower on Kentucky's staff right now. She throws in mid-60s, 64, hitting 68 at times. I expect to see a lot of curve, rise, and a mix of that changeup.
Megan, I'm very glad that you were not late to the stadium today, because I forgot to tell you, be sure to set your clock ahead for daylight savings time.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking what our producer just told me. The cell phone is automatic, and I have an Apple Watch, so I'm
that's
plugged
even more
in.
Automatic.
Thank you. You say that as if I'm late to the stadium.
Well, no, I said I'm glad that you weren't, because you could have been.
I could have been.
Not
You're right.
abided by the rule of daylight savings time.
I hear state of Florida's getting rid of they're going to spring forward, but they're not going to fall back. I'm waiting for that to happen in Georgia.
Gamecocks get the leadoff batter aboard. This is the first time this series that they have opened up the first inning with the runner reaching. So McGuire works the walk. 8th of the season given up by Megan Shorman. Mackenzie Bozel, 1 for 5 in the series this weekend. Takes that pitch for strike 1 in the outside of the black. This series, South Carolina 1 through 4 hitters, 3 for 21. It's a 143 batting average, and they have yet to drive in a run.
That's not really typical of South Carolina offense with the top of the lineup struggling. I mean, you have, in terms of team leaders, and Mackenzie Bozel right here, and then Kinsey McGuire, particularly, since those are the 2 that we're seeing. But I mean, they're upperclassmen, and they've they've really struggled. South Carolina's going to need them to step it up, but at the same time, the rest of the lineup's going to have to pick it up.
Well, the Kentucky pitching staff has held South Carolina to just 2 runs and 7 hits this entire weekend. Fly out to center field for the first out of the Gamecocks first. Taking a look at that Kentucky defense. In center field, Kayla Kowalik, Bailey Vick in left, and then Lauren Johnson over in right field. Kentucky infield led by Abby Cheek at third, then Katie Reed, the all-SEC shortstop, Alex Martens at second, Mallory Payton first base, and behind the plate, who has had a good weekend, Ginny Shaper. Here's Jenna Johns. 441 batting average this season, 1 for 4 here this weekend. She's got 6 home runs and 22 runs driven in. And she has been dynamic in the field at third base. She's one of the top defensive third basemen around.
She really is, and I'll say it all season long. I don't care how she's performing. She is just fun to watch. She's got that certain charisma, the spark about her that she just, she came in last season as a freshman and certainly didn't play like what you would expect a freshman to play. She just slid right in. See a look at Shorman's changeup right there. Looks like she's, even with her other pitches, I know she's doing well right now, still leaving the ball a little up in the zone. I think she might just be struggling just a touch.
Count runs to 3 balls, 1 strike now. To Jenna Johns with Kayla Drotar on deck. Runner on first is Kinsey McGuire, who led off the inning with a walk. And the Gamecocks with 2 runners on now. And that is 14 times now that Jenna Johns has been hit by a pitch.
When I look at Jana Johns in the box, now obviously this is a different angle than when I would be on the pitching rubber or on the field in any way, but I don't see her crowding the plate to the point where I would say she's getting hit because she's crowding the plate. And that pitch was in the batter's box with her, but it's funny to me how much she gets hit. Not funny, ha-ha, but just, one of those weird things.
Johns was hit twice yesterday. She's been hit a total of 3 times this weekend. Here's Kayla Drotar, junior out of Hartsville, South Carolina. 1 for 6 on the weekend. She's driven in 25 runs on the season with 5 home runs. And the Gamecocks have a runner in scoring position. It's been rare this weekend that they have had a chance to drive a run home from second base. This series, runners in scoring position. There you see South Carolina 0 for 6. Kentucky 7 for 22. Drotar looking at a 2-1 count. 15 pitches already have been thrown here by the freshman Megan Shorman. Count evens up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nice pitch from Shorman as she was trying to battle back here on Kayla Drotar.
That was a good pitch by Shorman for a couple of reasons. One, because she hit her spot, but 2, Kayla Drotar took a pretty good cut at a pitch that was very similar just prior to that, and Shorman trusted herself to know that she can go back to that same corner. Sometimes pitchers get hesitant to throw the same pitch or the same location back to back.
Drotar strikes it out to right field. Runner tagging and sliding in safely is Kinsey McGuire. So the Gamecocks with runners on the corners with 2 outs for Kennedy Clark. Kennedy Clark 1 for 5 this weekend, the senior left fielder. Chino Hills, California. Trying to keep that fair, but unable to do so. Clark has had an impact with this Gamecock squad ever since she arrived in Columbia. 4-year starter. Nice change of speed. And Shorman ahead of the batter. No balls, 2 strikes. Trying to get out of this inning unscathed. This series 2-out hitting. We talked about it a bunch yesterday, how good Kentucky has been. 7 RBIs off of 8 hits and 28 chances. South Carolina just 1, going 2 for 13 at the plate. Runner will take second as the ball gets loose from Jenny Shaper. So Jenna Johns on second now and Kinsey McGuire on third. Gamecocks with 2 runners in scoring position. A wild pitch charged to Megan Shorman.
You know, Kennedy Clark absolutely has been an impact player for the South Carolina team over the last 4 years, and I know she is frustrated because she struggled this weekend, but you know, she's a senior and she's a leader, and her teammates look to her, and I know that just knowing athletes like that she's going to find a way to not get frustrated, take what she can from those past 2 games and make an adjustment today.
Two lifted into shallow left, and coming in to make the catch to end the first is Bailey Vick as South Carolina strands a pair of runners. No score here in Columbia. To the second inning we go with no score here in Columbia. South Carolina and Kentucky, a couple of top 25 teams opening up SEC play. Kentucky has already won the series, trying to get the sweep here today. South Carolina trying to avoid that. Kentucky snapped South Carolina's 15-game winning streak on Friday. It's going to be Alex Martens to lead off against Kayla Drotar. Drotar a 13-pitch, 1-2-3 inning in the first. Mallory Payton on deck, and then Katie Reed in the hole.
Drotar definitely had a solid first inning. I spoke with her yesterday. I wanted to find out how her shin was feeling, and so we kind of just started talking a little bit past that. But just to reiterate, her shin was fine. She felt after she got hit that had that initial shock, and then she was okay. But she said that coming into this series, she just, even though she had thrown well in their pre-conference schedule, that she just didn't feel like Kayla. She felt a little off, and so what she did prior to this series is she made a couple of small changes that took her back to what she was doing last year in terms of her wind-up, maybe a little bit of delivery, just some tweaks here and there. Said that Friday she felt like Kayla for the first time. She felt like she was throwing her speed, she was on her game, and so far she still looks good.
Two-one is in there for strike 2.
I love it when Kayla throws her changeup as much as she does. I like it when any pitcher does it. I just see Kayla the most, and she has such a good changeup, and that's such a weapon for her.
Let's take a look. You're talking about the shin, and here it is. Megan, you've taken that a time or two.
I certainly have, and that lets you know that your pitch was right down the middle of the plate. that you need to make an adjustment. But when it comes, I mean, it hit her directly on the shin bone, and that does hurt.
Throwing the changeup for young up-and-coming pitchers out there, it's all about disguising the arm motion. You want it to look like it is your normal fastball. How difficult is it to throw the changeup compared to other pitches?
That's an interesting question because I've had some pitchers where it comes fairly easy, depending on the grip and the one that you're asking them to throw. And then some pitchers, especially your hard-throwing pitchers, the speed pitchers, they seem to struggle a bit with throwing the changeup. But you're right. You're trying to get through your motion to where you're not telegraphing the pitch. And the pitchers that you've seen this weekend have done an excellent job of that.
J.C. Babbs on to run. Babbs scored a run yesterday. So Alex Martens drawing the walk to lead off the second. Babbs will run for her, and now it's Mallory Payton, the sophomore, out of Madisonville, Kentucky. 2 RBIs, a home run this series, going 2 for 6 at the plate. She had the long ball yesterday. 7 home runs this season. And she leads the Wildcats in dingers. Only play is to first as the runner was moving with the pitch, and South Carolina gets the first out, but Babbs advances to second.
Let's see, the ball stays on the plate. If the ball is in front of the plate or on the plate, it's considered a fair ball. You can see that Anna Vest made a good decision there with Babbs. Pinch runner, she's there for a reason. She has some speed. Just didn't have a shot at second for the defense.
Here's Katie Reed now. Senior from St. Louis, Missouri. All-American. First team All-SEC in her sophomore year. She's already been accepted into dental school at the University of Pittsburgh, and she'll start once this semester is over.
Coach Lawson talked actually prior to Friday's game about how several of their athletes are either going to dental school. You have one that's been accepted as a PhD candidate for a program, and she could go through the entire lineup and talk about that. But she says that the Kentucky athletes, they're coming to Kentucky for the right reasons. Both of these schools, University of South Carolina, University of Kentucky, they each have programs academically that are internationally and nationally known as being strong programs. They're both quality institutions, and I would say on both sides of the plate here, you have athletes that are going on to graduate school and doing some great things in the community and in their professions. So, and I told Coach Lawson, I said, when you have athletes that are focused on school and they're looking to go into that graduate school or further their education, you as a coach are doing something right. You're putting the emphasis on the right things. Now, this is coming from a professor, but I mean, argue with me. Go ahead. Come on.
Well, no, I can't argue at all because I've always said that sports is the extension of the classroom that you can't get anywhere else, and the whole reason behind playing team sports is you learn about just life lessons you can't get anywhere else, and it really develops you usually into a good student and into a good leader and a good member of your community. So it's in both schools, you're right, have really good programs. In USC with the Arnold School of Public Health, they draw a lot of these softball players from time to time, and Kentucky gets the base hit to put runners on the corners. Yeah, I cannot argue one bit at all.
I just wanted, have a doctorate of philosophy, and I wanted to get into debate because that's what I do. But
I never took philosophy, never took stats. Journalism and communications major, we take the easy road, self-paced astronomy and things like that. scuba, you know.
Well, I think also, Birch, kind of getting back to the academic side, that's why it is so important for athletes to choose the school that they want to go play ball at because of the academics, because you never know what's going to happen.
Here's Kelsey Henson. Reed taking off for second. She is safe. Double steal. And Babs comes home to score, and Reed will take third. So Kentucky out to a 1-0 lead. Once you get speed out there, you really have to make sure that everything is perfect defensively.
Absolutely. And, you know, I was going to say maybe it was something on the throw, but it really wasn't a bad throw. I just think that it has to do with the speed, and then it didn't help that there were some balance issues out there.
That ball is hit hard. Short of the wall, making the catch. Runner will tag, and it's 2-0 Wildcats as Reed comes in to score. So how big was it that you've got Reed out there, the good base runner that she is, as the ball gets away, trying to get Martens at the plate, or Babs rather, and then that allows Reed to take third, and then the deep fly ball by Henson.
Honestly, I think the ball was hit so deep in right field with the speed that Reed has. She has just enough. I think she would have been safe at home anyway.
So it's 2-0 Wildcats. Kayla Drotar here in the second after putting the Wildcats down in order, 1-2-3, allowing a couple of runs. Gamecocks get the third out as Bailey Vick with the ground out. 6, 7, and 8 due up in the Carolina order when we come back. Kentucky Wildcats leading South Carolina 2-0 off of one hit. The Gamecocks committing an error in the second. Alex Martens continues her big weekend. She walked and scored a run. Katie Reed, single stolen base and a run scored for her. For Carolina, here in the second, Lauren Stewart will lead off. She had the triple yesterday. She's had a couple of walks this series. 1 for 4 at the plate this weekend. .340 batting average for the season for Stewart, former Purdue Boilermaker. Stewart hits that ball hard. That is deep to left, and it is gone. A home run into left center. Lauren Stewart with the smash, her third home run of the year. As she is greeted by the Gamecocks at home, it is 2-1 Kentucky. That might be the spark that Bev Smith and the Gamecocks have been looking for all weekend.
Listen, we've seen Lauren Stewart approach the plate every game consistently. And what I love about her is I've seen a big old smile on her face every time she's gotten in the box. Wasn't any different here. She's had confidence. She just hasn't had anybody to pick her up.
Only Gamecock this weekend with an extra base hit. She's got 2 now. She had the triple yesterday, the home run here today.
A couple great catches defensively out in center field.
Megan Shorman, second home run allowed this season. Through 21 innings. So Rachel Lawson, what is she telling Shorman there in that situation? Just shake it off, get back to work?
Probably at this point. I mean, you're not trying to make any mechanical changes when you go out like that. It's probably, hey, all right, that was an aggressive swing on a first pitch. You know, if you start noticing, South Carolina's tried to be aggressive on first pitches for a reasonable cause. I mean, Kentucky's come in with first pitch strikes. So at some point you may want to make an adjustment to move your first pitches off the plate a little bit more, but she's probably telling her freshman pitcher just to take a deep breath, let her defense work for her.
Here's the freshman from North Augusta, South Carolina, Carly Heath. .318 batter with 2 home runs.
Yeah, man.
Getting her first at-bat of this series. Heath came in to pitch late in the ball game on Saturday.
I see why she is getting an at-bat.
Yes.
She's got some power there. We've seen a lot of hitting pitchers in this series. And, you know, letting Carly hit for herself allows Coach Smith to put another strong bat in the lineup. So this works out well for South Carolina when you have hitting pitchers.
Strike 3 called. First strikeout of the game for Shorman, 26th of the season.
That was a good call. Carly Heath had made solid contact, showed her power, and then Shorman comes in with a changeup. Keep her off balance, and it worked.
Now Haley Simpson, another freshman, the right fielder, got the start yesterday, making the most of her opportunity, going 2 for 3 with an RBI. Good to see the Gamecocks always having fun.
And that is actually a word that they have used to describe themselves. And this team has decided to use the word fun as a reminder, as part of their creed that they had. So the team thinks of this, for lack of a better term, a motto, the power of one. And then the team has come up with the words grit, fun, accountable, and composure to help them keep in check and get focused back on the power of one. But I have to say that South Carolina's teams, I would describe them as looking like they're having fun for the last 3-4 years.
Be a tough play for the shortstop, but a good throw over by Katie Reed to get Haley Simpson for the second out.
That was a nice throw on the run there. Well played.
Katie Reed, what a career she has had in Lexington. 9-hole hitter, the freshman Madison Owens, 0 for 4 this series. Madison from Latta High School in Dillon, South Carolina. hit well, but directly at Kowalik out in center. As we will end the second inning, but South Carolina cuts the Kentucky lead in half, courtesy of the solo bomb by Lauren Stewart. Last inning, the Kentucky Wildcats getting on the board as J.C. Babbs, courtesy runners, stealing second and then coming home on a double steal. And then Reed is driven in on the sacrifice fly from Kelsey Henson. So it's 2-1 Kentucky as Carolina getting the solo home run. Last inning, there is Dawn Staley, home a little earlier than she wanted to be, as the Gamecock women's basketball team was ousted from the SEC tournament up in Greenville, South Carolina by the 10-seed Razorbacks of Arkansas, as Drotar throws over the first for the first out, getting Lauren Johnson there. But I'm sure that, she's happy to see her Gamecock softball team that she loves, and I'm sure she's very much happy to see Champ, who she loves equally.
It's a really neat relationship that Coach Smith and Coach Staley and the two teams, women's basketball and softball, have with each other. And, the type of support that you see from those two coaches for each other's teams, I didn't see that when I was coming up, and I didn't see it, at other institutions. And I think it's just, I think Coach Staley and Coach Smith have sparked that type of support across the SEC, because now you're starting to see more of it. And Coach Staley is just a firm supporter of softball, and she gets her athletes out here to support, and as does softball for women's basketball.
She also has, some other coaches that they lean on too, and they're very supportive. Shelly Smith, the women's soccer coach, and Boo Major, the leader of the equestrian team that's won a national championship before. And it's got to be good, when you've got, especially in the women's programs in South Carolina, when you have Dawn Staley and Boo Major, they're both national champions. Now you've got these coaches that have been here for a long time. There's some tenure, there's some foundation. It's got to be good when you can go down the hall and pick each other's brains. And Drotar is going to get the strikeout of Jenny Shaper for the second out of the inning.
Absolutely, and you're building a culture. I mean, those are the types of folks you want to hang around, winning minds and that type of mindset, and just the women supporting each other. I can't speak to how much that goes, and you want to instill that in your athletes. I mean, everyone out here, even the fans included, we're all just here trying to do life together. So let's be supportive and pick each other up, right?
A little more kindness in this world.
There you go.
It's not a bad thing.
At all.
And Dawn Staley, she is always one to show some kindness to the kiddos. And Bev Smith, when she got here, that's something that's kind of been huge for South Carolina softball. Is you look around, there's always youngsters here. And if you go over to the Colonial Life Arena, you'll see the same thing.
I mean, the sports in general is just a fun place for children to grow up and to be a part of. You learn so much just from being around the game. I had a conversation. That was a great change-up by Kayla Drotar, by the way. Insert comment. But I had a great conversation with Brian Bennett that's in our booth with us. He's our talent stats, which, prior to getting into the booth myself 5 years ago, I didn't even know that existed, and was asking him, how can I get my 9-year-old, who I just want her to play a sport and be interested in it. Doesn't even have to be softball. And he suggested just having her come out and learn how to keep score. That gives them something to do. It teaches them about strategies of the game, and I think that's an excellent idea. We do that with athletes that aren't in the game, have them keep score, pay attention.
What a play by Kinsey McGuire to end the Kentucky third. Nicely done by McGuire with the over-the-shoulder. Say hey, McGuire putting down the batter, Kowalik. 1-2-3, go the Wildcats. Kentucky 2 runs off of 1 hit, no errors. South Carolina 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. As we go to the bottom of the third inning here in Columbia, the Gamecocks trying to avoid the sweep of the Wildcats to open SEC play. As we look at Beverly Smith in her 9th season as the South Carolina head coach, 296 wins, winning percentage just a skosh below 60%. And it's going to be Kinsey McGuire, who ended the inning for Kentucky, the last half inning, with a great catch defensively in the field. Now she's going to lead off for the Gamecocks to start the third for South Carolina. And that's going to be a good feeling when you make the play, a nice play in the field to end it for the opposing team, and then you're due up at the plate, very next batter. We'll try to do a little double duty here, a little extra damage for Kinsey McGuire.
Anytime, and let's just back up for a second, because that play that McGuire made wasn't just a routine play. That was a phenomenal catch. And because I've watched South Carolina softball over the last seasons, I have seen McGuire at shortstop. She's probably one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite athlete that plays shortstop. She can do those big-time plays, and you're right, making a play like that, getting out of the inning, that's certainly, her adrenaline's running right now. She's feeling good. Hopefully enough to get her out of this little trouble she's had this weekend.
Kinsey McGuire, such a good shortstop. They had Kristen White moving from the shortstop position to play third base, but Kristen White, she could play anywhere. I believe she did play just about every position at one time or another, besides pitching and catching.
And Kristen White was the heart and soul player from last season, definitely utility.
And McGuire starts off the inning with a single into center field. So there it is, McGuire with the double damage.
This is exactly what you're hoping from McGuire. Coming off a big defensive play, she struggled at the plate, and she comes through, gets herself on base. Exactly the type of role that South Carolina needs to get in.
McGuire was 0 for 6 before stroking that single. Now it's Mackenzie Bozel, the junior, second baseman who flew out to center field in the first.
Okie dokie. So that has happened before. I can speak from experience with pitching. And, I mean, look, you can see that Shorman's just laughing it off, because really that's all you can do. She swings back and loses grip on the ball as she comes around, and so it just falls out behind her. And because she's already started her motion, you know, McGuire did exactly what she's supposed to do and can steal on that. But, yeah, you just laugh it off.
Goes down as a wild pitch. Hit well out to left, backing up and making a good play on the ball. Bailey Vick tagging and taking third is McGuire. Bailey Vick getting a little turned around out there and having to battle something she hadn't seen all weekend. That's the sun.
That was a good touch by Bozel. You can see Vick having to really stretch and reach and make an adjustment there. You know, Bozel feels better about the contact she made. And Vick, you know, yeah, maybe she got a little turned around, but the bottom line is she came through and made the play.
One out in the Gamecocks' third. Johns slapper to short. Reed looks the runner back and fires over the first. 2 outs in the inning. Kayla Drotar coming up. Drotar 1 for 7 this weekend. Trying to help herself out here. She stands in the batter's box to face Megan Shorman. Will reach the seats, out of play. Another chance for Reed. And Shorman and the Wildcats get out of the inning unscathed. Cheek, Martens, and Peyton due up when we come back. Going to the fourth inning with Kentucky leading 2-1 here in Columbia. SEC season opener for both the Wildcats and the Gamecocks. Kentucky going for the sweep on the road. Beverly Smith, look at this coaching tree. Boy, has she not done a good job not only of developing players, but developing coaches to keep this game going for the future.
She certainly has, and when you look at those folks that are on this list, these are just individuals that are still coaching. There have been players that have coached and then have chosen to do other things, but they're quality folks. She's teaching them, her and Coach Novice. I think you have to put those two together. They've been together a very long time coaching. They're teaching the fundamentals of the game. They're teaching them how to have fun. They're teaching them how to lead.
And all of those coaches on that list, got one head coach already. It's not going to be long before the dominoes start falling. We change the business card from assistant to head coach.
Exactly. And even if they don't, it's okay, because being a head coach brings an entirely different ball game in terms of responsibilities and accountability that you have to take, and not everybody wants to be a head coach. As a head coach, you're looking to hire folks that can complement you, and then you kind of take the brunt of the force. And when you're in that head coach spot, you get the glory, but you also catch a lot of the heat. And so that's not for everybody.
Here's Abby Cheek at the plate, lined out to Kinsey McGuire her last time up. McGuire making a good stab on that one too. And going back to your comments on, as far as Bev Smith and developing the coaches, yeah, you're like a CEO when you're a head coach of a softball program, and have a lot more responsibilities than just teaching how to hit, how to pitch, how to field.
Well, and I think that I brought this up yesterday after a conversation with Coach Kayla Jackson, new to the staff, new returning, but new this year to the staff. And she made a good comment that at this level, at this point, you're not really you shouldn't have to teach them how to hit. It's more training. But I will say that that's not the case for all teams and all athletes. I know coaches in the SEC and at this level that are still having to teach the game, and so it's based off of where you are. But I think with the head coach, more of it is the stress and having to deal with the politics and making sure you're hiring the right folks. Recruiting is 90% of the game.
Alex Martens, good weekend for her. That's the count even. 1-1 strike. Abby Cheek on second. Nobody out here in the Kentucky fourth. Jotar now has reached 50 pitches. 32 have been strikes, 18 balls. She threw 13 pitches in the first in a 1-2-3 inning. The longest was in the second, going 18. That's a deep fly ball out of here. A 2-run home run for Alex Martens. Her hot weekend in the Palmetto State continues. She's got 5 home runs on the season now. And Kentucky pads the lead some more. It's 4-1.
And you can see Kayla Drotar struggling a little bit. She's trying to respect the zone here, trying to work the outside corner, and she comes in with that changeup. She knew it too. She hung it in the zone a little too much. And we talked about Martens and Cheeks in the open, and right there, who was on base? It was Abby Cheeks. And these two have just been phenomenal this weekend.
I would say so, with 5 hits and 8 trips to the plate. A triple, a home run, 6 RBIs for Alex this weekend. Alex Martens out of McHenry, Illinois, the junior. Middle of the order continues to be impressive for Rachel Lawson and the Kentucky Wildcats. Abby Cheek, Alex Martens, Mallory Payton, and then Katie Reed looking at 3, 4, 5, 6. Heck of a job they have done here to open up SEC play in 2019. Six home runs allowed this season now by Kayla Drotar. Here's Mallory Payton now, the sophomore. Sacrifice bunt her first time up. Now as a pitcher, it's only a 3-run lead. You've got to say, hey, I know my offense can get it done. I'm going to have to rely on them and rely on my defense in the field. But what does it mean psychologically? Can it be a benefit to have, now you're starting the inning fresh again since the bases are empty?
It can be. I can say with my pitcher hat on, I can say that anytime I gave up a home run or you give up a home run, to me, it infuriated me because I knew I never gave credit to the hitter. I always said that was my mistake because especially a home run to dead center. And if you saw Kayla Drotar's face after the home run, she knew it as soon as the ball left Martin's bat. But yeah, you're right. I mean, now the bases are clear. There's not as much pressure. You've got to refocus. Hey, they don't have any outs yet, so you've got to be better. You've got to do work. Tighten up.
Glass half full type of logic there.
You have to. If anybody in anything that you're doing, if you let yourself start to think negatively, it'll bring you down in a heartbeat. That's like I can sit there, I can wake up in the morning and say I don't feel good and tell myself I don't feel good all day until I really don't feel good. Your mind is such a powerful tool, and that these athletes at this level particularly have the benefit of having, mental performance consultants, sports psychologists that can work with them. And I can tell you, Kayla Drotar, she's tough, and I know that just from speaking with her the little bit that I have. She's a competitor, and she's got the right mindset.
Well, I cannot believe that you gave up a home run in your career. That is just foul.
You silly.
And then
I was a rise ball pitcher.
You're the type of person that, will have the flu and 105-degree fever and will wake up in the morning and go out and run 5 miles.
Yeah, that is true. I have pitched games literally with the flu. I have pitched games where I've been sick, but hey.
Those were the ones where you gave up the home runs.
That's me. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Wind really blowing out now. Grounder to second. And there's the first out of the inning that Drotar was looking for.
Yeah, and that's a good recovery right there. She gives up a home run. She knew it. She bared down. She tightened up on the zone and gets the first out. Good response.
Here's Katie Reed now. Single, stolen base, and RBI for Reed. Also scoring a run, all in the second. Batting .362. Katie Reed, 9 for 9 stolen bases this season. She's got 58 thefts in her career now. 12 her freshman year, 16 in 2017, 14 last year. Good throw and a good stretch at first to get the speedy Reed. That's a big out there too for Kayla Drotar.
It is, and that's a good look at Kenzie McGuire and that awesome side-armed type of throw she has. Look, she's throwing on the run, and I truly believe that sidearm throw there, I know it saves her time, but not many folks can do that consistently, and that's the way she's always thrown. I love it.
Two outs now as Kelsey Henson stands in. 7th batter in the Kentucky order. Trotar delivers the 1-1, and it's delivered into right for a single off the bat of Kelsey Henson. First of the weekend for Kelsey. And Kentucky keeps the inning going. More 2-out hitting for the Wildcats.
That was just a nice piece of hitting there by Henson. That pitch was on the inside corner. Wasn't really high in the zone. Henson did a good job of just turning on it.
We're going to have a new runner, Tatum Spengler, who will run for Henson. Spengler, a freshman out of Henderson, Nevada. And it's the left-handed swinging Bailey Vick, Jr. For 1 today with a little ground out in front of the catcher in a vest. Johns takes it on the little weak line drive. It's 4-1 Kentucky. We go to the bottom of the 4th in Columbia. See the wind swirling here in Columbia, where Kentucky leads South Carolina 4-1. 4 hits for the Wildcats today. 2 hits for Carolina. And for South Carolina, here in the bottom of the 4th, the Gamecocks will have 5, 6, and 7 in the order. Kennedy Clark, then Lauren Stewart, who had the solo home run in the 2nd, followed by Carly Heath, the freshman. What's your assessment so far for Megan Shorman, Megan?
See what you did there, Birch. I think she's a freshman with her first conference outing. I think she's doing okay.
That is hit well for extra bases to lead off the Gamecocks' 4th. Kennedy Clark. Her 9th double of the season.
Pitch low in the zone, over the plate, but low in the zone, and Clark does a good job of just going down to get that. Again, I know she's got to feel good. She's been struggling a little bit this weekend, but you're starting to see the adjustments that South Carolina is making. To finish my thought on Shorman, I think she is doing okay. I think she's trying to make adjustments on the zone and keeping the ball off the plate a little bit. I can see her kind of walking through her spins. That lets me know that maybe she's not getting as good a spin as she would like on some pitches, which are the ones that are getting hit. But, hey, her defense is working for her, and that's all she needs.
Now Lauren Stewart, 1 for 1 today, the solo home run to left center, her last time up. Her only time up in this game, actually. Getting her second look here at Shorman. Gamecocks with a runner in scoring position. Really, it's been rare that they have had that situation. They're 0 for 10 this weekend. Will that drop? Yes, it will. Rounding third. Nope, she's going to put on the brakes. Kennedy Clark, good decision, too, because that was a good throw in by the right fielder, Lauren Johnson, and cut off nicely, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shallow fly ball that dropped. Good aggressive play in the outfield. Good decision to cut. Good decision to hold.
2 for 2 today at the plate is Stewart now. And the Gamecocks with 2 runners on, nobody out. And freshman Carly Heath at the plate. South Carolina down by 3. She represents the tying run. Go ahead run on deck. And freshman Haley Simpson. South Carolina, they have not seen this situation at all this weekend, where they have had 2 runners on and no outs. Gamecocks could have a big inning here. That's what they're hoping for. And they're going to get Stewart chased back to first.
Very well played. That was a great – well, let's start with Shorman first. She throws a ball high in the zone on purpose. That's going to lead Schaefer up out of her stance, going to be able to make a better throw, a quicker throw. You can see it right here. Rise ball up in the zone. Schaefer's already in a good throwing position. Throw was on point. And then you have Alex Martens over there making the decision to look the runner back. That was very well played, textbook.
Yeah, don't give up the run there. Some people would be asking the question, well, why not try to throw her out at first? Well, because it could wind up in the dugout, for one thing. And you don't want to give up that run. You'd rather have your chance to get out of the inning unscathed, rely on what your pitcher and your defense can do.
Yeah, and you have to also look at Stewart. I mean, Stewart is leading off of first. Her job in that situation is to try to bait the defense. And so what she did well is she just didn't run through it. She actually had her head up. She watched where the throw was going, and she was aware of the play. Sometimes I see runners, they're supposed to be baiting to allow the runner from third, see what the defense is going to do, and they just run right into an out.
Four to 1 Wildcats, but South Carolina with a chance to get something percolating here. It's a 1-2 count to freshman Carly Heath, who struck out her first time up. And that's a big strikeout for Shorman as she gets Heath again, this time swinging.
Shorman goes hard on that outside corner. Nice pop on the ball.
Now, Elisa Kumiyama will come on to hit for South Carolina for Haley Simpson. Kumiyama out of Lakewood, California, the sophomore. Hitless this series in pinch hitting situations. She's 0 for 3. 300 batting average on the season.
Prior to this series, though, she's been called off the bench into pinch hit situations, and I think she had, a 3-run home run in a grand slam coming off the bench. I asked Coach Smith about that and kind of said, why? Because that's not typical, right? And she said, well, Kumiyama, she's been injured, so she's had to sit at the bench. Here you go. You see the bait play again. Again, well played by Kentucky. But I asked about Kumiyama and that situation, her coming off the bench and being able to hit well prior to the series. And Coach Smith said, listen, she was injured, but it wasn't like she was just sitting around. She was charting. She was keeping score. She was keeping her head in the game, and she was ready.
I said she was 0 for 3 in pitch hitting situations this weekend, and She actually was the designated player starting on Friday, going 0 for 2. Grabbed a bat yesterday as a pinch hitter.
Pinch hitting is not easy to do. I mean, just for the reasons I was saying. You're sitting on the bench, and yeah, you're trying to stay involved and stay up, but your body is cold sometimes. You have to get up and take extra swings, monitor yourself. You have to be constantly paying attention to what's going on the field with the pitcher, getting feedback from other hitters as they come in.
Gamecocks with a chance to load the bases. It's a 3-0 count. Don't believe Kumiyama will have the green light here. She does not. Takes that pitch for the first strike of the at-bat. 3 balls, 1 strike, the count now to Kumiyama. Runners on first and third for Carolina, down by 3 runs here to Kentucky, trying to avoid the sweep. Kumiyama leads the team in pinch hitting with 7 RBIs, 3 for 6 and 2 home runs. So she is who you want in this situation if you're Beverly Smith and the Gamecocks.
I think Shorman has seen what Kumiyama's going to do with that rise ball, and Kumiyama keeps chasing it. So Shorman's going to keep coming with it. Good pitch for Shorman. Not a good pitch to hit.
Foul back to the screen again, and Kumiyama doing a good job of keeping this at-bat alive. 8th pitch of the at-bat. Now 9 pitches thrown to Kumiyama.
Kumiyama doing a great job of keeping the bat alive. What am I looking for here? Staying alive in the box, just fouling it off, waiting for Shorman to make a mistake.
Upstairs, ball 4, and Kumiyama draws the walk. High quality walk there for Kumiyama, and you saw the emotion coming out of Kumiyama as she draws that walk, looks to the Gamecock dugout. She's been a good teammate in the dugout as well, waiting for her opportunity, and that's what makes it so much more special when you come up for a pinch hitting situation like that.
She has her game face on. I mean, let's face it. And she had a great at bat. She got behind, was chasing the rise ball. So I understand Shorman coming back with a rise ball like that. It's high risk, high reward type of pitch in that situation. And Kumiyama finally was able to lay off of it and didn't go for it. She did a great job. She's trying to get her team pumped up.
It's Lindsay, the batter now, Alexis Lindsay. Alex Fulmer will run for Kumiyama. And actually, it's going to be Simpson re-entering to run. But at the plate, Lindsay, Alexis Lindsay, ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Outside for ball 3. 3-1 count now to Alexis Lindsay.
See, Coach Lawson is letting her freshman pitcher work through this. Kentucky's up. They've been playing well. Why not?
Swing and a miss. Count goes full. If you're Shorman, you really have to bear down here and just trust your pitch and throw it with some conviction.
Absolutely. I would say you have to do that in any situation, but especially in a pressure situation like this, you've got to trust your training. You've got to trust the spin. Let your defense work.
Just like that, they get the double play to get out of the inning and to keep South Carolina off the scoreboard. Gamecocks have the bases loaded, but it is a 4-3 double play to end the inning. Kentucky leading South Carolina 4-1, 4 hits each for the Gamecocks and the Wildcats, and it's going to be Lauren Johnson, the 9-hole hitter, to lead off the Wildcats' 5th inning. Going back to the Gamecocks' 4th, they had the bases loaded, chance to get some damage done with just 1 out, but Alexis Lindsay, the pinch hitter, grounding out into a double play, and it was a double play. Alex Martens, the second baseman, picking up the grounder, tagging the runner, going from first to second, and then throwing over to first. So Martins, a big weekend at the plate and a big weekend in the field, especially last half inning to keep the Gamecocks off the board, because it could have been a big inning for Carolina.
It really could have, and you have to think about what that does for South Carolina. You're so close. You worked really hard to get those runners on base, and then Kentucky does exactly what they're supposed to. They come up big defensively, which is what Coach Lawson has been hoping, because their defense has been a little sketch prior to this series. And so she was looking for that out of her players. But for South Carolina, you can't let that take the wind out of your sails. You've done it before, and you've just got to go back into the dugout when it's your turn to come up to hit. One, focus on the defense now, then go back into the dugout and do work again.
Well, on Friday in game number 1 of this series, Lauren Johnson led off the 5th inning, and she did so with a solo home run, her second of the year. She's leading off the 5th inning here, this time against Kayla Drotar. She had that home run in the 5th on Friday off of Rayleigh. And she's going to get a leadoff single here to get the 5th inning underway. So if you start the 5th inning, you want Lauren Johnson at the plate if you're Kentucky.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. She's 2 for 2 this weekend with a home run and a singles, leading off the 5th.
I feel like you could say that for just about everybody in the Kentucky lineup, though, this weekend, because we talked earlier. They've just produced. They've hit the ball well. You know, we opened up the series talking about how good Kentucky is with runners on base, and that's what they do. They get runners on base, and then they manufacture runs. They're good at situational hitting.
Top of the order now, Jenny Shaper, the catcher, 0 for 2 today. Every single Wildcat that's been in the starting lineup this weekend, they have gotten at least 1 hit.
And even if the games were to stop right now, so taking away this game because it's not over, the way Kentucky has played the past 2 games, Friday and Saturday, I mean, they've come out and they've played some hard ball. Now, Kentucky has been good, so let's be clear here. It's not like there's some dark horse team that's emerging. Kentucky is one of those silent teams that sometimes you don't hear a lot about, but you forget how good they are.
South Carolina almost with a chance to get the twin billing of their own, but get the lead runner. Johnson forced out at second, unable to pull the double play to get Shaper. She runs well for a catcher.
She does, and that was a nice aggressive play by Jana Johns going for the lead runner. take a little pressure off the defense.
Kennedy Cowden will be the runner at first in place of Shaper. There's Kennedy. 1 out and 1 on for Kayla Kowalik. Kowalik, the freshman center fielder, converted catcher.
I know. I'm just going to have to keep following Kentucky to see if I can see Kowalik behind the plate. But, I mean, hey, she's done well in center field, and Shaper's doing a stand-up job behind the plate. So it'd be tough to move her. Looks like she's pretty comfortable out in center anyway.
Look at this grip that she has. Megan, little split grip there on the bat. Another Kentucky stolen base. What's the advantage for Kowalik using that grip there on the bat?
Sometimes it's a comfort thing. And then when you look at Kowalik, her hitting from the left side and especially slapping, what that's going to do, it's going to help her shorten up her swing a little bit, keep it tight, but it also gives her a little bit more bat control. And I always tip my hat to slappers because you're having to move through the box and then make contact with the ball while you're moving, and then, oh, wait, you need to place it too. So you need to have as much bat control as you have, so that's probably a combination of comfort, shortening the swing up, and bat control.
Drifting back and left and making the catch is Clark. Taking third is the runner, moving from second to third on the flyout.
And now you have danger entering the box. I feel like there's an alarm going off in my head. Danger, here comes Abby Cheeks with the runner
Danger,
on.
Will Robinson. You're probably not old enough to even get that reference. Made one to Willie Mays earlier without mentioning Willie, but I don't think he got that one either.
Well, that's not because of my age. That's just because I just don't care enough to pay attention to that stuff.
Well, thanks for being honest.
Yeah, anytime. That's what I'm here for, Birch.
Here's Abby Cheek with a runner on third. 2 outs in the inning. Wildcats lead by 3. ...20 runs on 22 hits this series for Kentucky. Fly to center, handled by Lauren Stewart. Kentucky leaves a runner stranded on third. It's still 4-1. We got to the bottom. 4-1 Wildcats trying to put the weekend sweep on Carolina, but the Gamecocks have been putting some runners aboard as of late, just that they've been unable to move them across and get them to home. It's 4-1 Kentucky. Good crowd on hand here for the SEC opening weekend for Kentucky and Carolina. On Friday, it was just terrible weather. Rained predominantly the entire game. Defensive substitution for Kentucky as Sarah Rainwater goes out to right field. And now Lauren Johnson will move into the designated player role. Batting for Carolina to lead off their 5th. Top of the order. And McGuire will take first. Now South Carolina has led off every inning of this ballgame now with the leadoff batter aboard.
And I think you can tell they may not have pushed that many runs across just yet, but you can tell a difference already in the way that Carolina has approached today. They're coming off 2 hard losses by a well-played Kentucky team, but you can see the fight in Carolina, and the difference being part of it is their approach at the plate, but also getting that leadoff runner on.
Tenth time this season that McGuire has been hit by a pitch. And that one is very, very special because she just set the school record for a number of times to be hit by a pitch. Passing Dana Highthorne for that record is McGuire. Could have that record for maybe 1 or 2 more years because Jenna Johns is on pace maybe to break it too.
She is. Again, just
so it might not last long.
A painful record to have. I guess congratulations. I don't know.
You know, you're taking one for the team.
That's right. There you go. There you go.
Power of one.
Whatever it takes.
Good read on the ball and a good throw in, but safe. Back to first is McGuire as Kowalik got a good read off the bat of Bosel. Made a good jump on the ball and then a good throw back to first to try to double up the runner.
Yeah, remember, Kowalik is a catcher, so she's going to have a strong arm. If Peyton over there had been able just to hold just a little bit longer, she would have gotten the call. But overall, whether it's been at the plate, whether it's been in the outfield in terms of their throws, you see an aggressive Kentucky defense. And that's gonna stop and surprise a lot of teams. I love that mentality, though.
You've got to like McGuire, too, being aggressive out there on the base paths. Is, normally you would want to see her probably go halfway, not more than halfway like she did, but you're down by 3, trying to avoid the sweep.
Yeah, I mean,
for some reason that ball does fall, you could get around and score.
Well, I think she hit the threshold on that leadoff because then you force a throw from Kowalik, and if the throw is not good, then she's going to advance anyway.
Gamecocks with 2 on now as Jenna Johns laces that single into left field. And now Kayla Drotar with another chance to help herself out. She's going 0 for 2 at the plate today. Gamecocks had Johns and McGuire both on in the first with 1 out. Drotar flew out to right field. In the third, Drotar was at the plate with 2 outs and a runner on. So she's left 3 stranded. Hitters count now, 2 balls, no strikes. Right back to the pitcher, a chance for 2. And Kentucky pulls it off again. Back-to-back innings. They close out the Gamecocks with the twin billing. What a weekend for Alex Martens. So she will lead off the Kentucky 6th. We'll take a look at Friday night. She had the big triple. And then game number 2 on Saturday, driving in one of 2 runs there. And then the big home run for Martens here today. So it has been a jewel of a weekend here in the Palmetto State for Alex Martens. She's made a nice play in the field as well to get a double play to end the Gamecocks' 4th. And South Carolina had the bases loaded. So Kentucky getting a double play to get out of the inning in the 4th when South Carolina had runners on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then the Gamecocks with 1 out and runners on 1st and 2nd. Kentucky gets another double play. Kayla Drotar here in the 6th with 83 pitches thrown. Paints the inside. Evens up the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Let's take a look at Drotar as she hit into the double play and then trying to stretch to first. Looked like she may have rolled her ankle just a little bit, but I think she's A-okay. Obviously, it looks like she's planning just fine. What a competitor Drotar is. And tough as nails, if there ever was one. She's had kind of a weekend where she's just been banged up.
Yeah, and sometimes it feels like that. You get hit, and then all of a sudden all the balls are coming your way, or you get hurt one time. You know how they say things come in threes, but I think there I think her stride was a little bit off, and she was trying to beat the ball. It looked like she overstrode just a little bit, hit the front part of the bag and tripped some, but it happens, and she's bounced back up and can't even tell.
This is outside as Alex Martens on base again. Second time she has walked today. Third time in this game that Martens has been on base. Jordan Fabian, there's a look at the new Gamecock catcher coming in for Vest. And it's very important too that Kayla Drotar not take her frustrations at the plate into the circle.
That's why I always, one of the reasons that I make comments about hitting pitchers, because you definitely, it's a weird combination. You want to use what you know pitching-wise to help you with hitting, but you are absolutely right. You have to compartmentalize, and if you have a bad at-bat, not let that carry over into your performance on the rubber.
And then vice versa,
Exactly.
not letting a bad inning carry over to the batter's box. And she's going to hit Mallory Payton. 5th time she's hit a batter this year. So a walk and then a hit batsman, Kayla Drotar. And what happened at the plate that last at bat for her, it may have had some mental effect now. You never know. It's not uncommon that a pitcher would start out with a walk and then a hit batter, but just maybe I'm trying to tie a coincidence together when I shouldn't.
That's called speculating.
Her line today, Kayla Drotar, 89 pitches thrown, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. No outs, 2 on. And Katie Reed at the plate. It's a time where you can really put some pressure on this Gamecock defense. Got to be on your toes, especially in the infield. It was a great play there by Johns again, recognizing that she was going to bunt and making the charge in.
That was a good recovery by Reed. Also missed the first pitch. I could see her getting an adjustment from third base Coach Hines, and then did a good job keeping her feet still on that second bunt. Well placed, nowhere else to go with it.
So Kelsey Henson, the batter. Sac fly and a single. The line for Henson. Bats 7th in the Kentucky order. Good pitch there for Kayla Drotar to come back and even up this count. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out in the inning, 2 on. Missing for ball 3. As Drotar has 95 pitches thrown now. Gets the strike to run the count full. 3 balls, 2 strikes now. Season high number of pitches for Drotar, 99. That came March 2nd against Troy. Shallow fly ball left field. Runner will tag. Good throw to keep the runner holding. Thought the runner was going to tag, but it was just a little feint there. And good arm being thrown by Kennedy Clark.
It was a good job by Martens over there to see what the defense was going to do, force a throw, because Jana Johns had to go up and cut that once she saw that Martens wasn't going to go from third, and it was almost deflected. So, again, just shows Kentucky is doing it all this weekend. And there you go with the base pass. But that was a good comeback by Kayla Drotar. Was behind in the count, seems to be struggling a little bit this inning. Good job just refocusing, going to her go-to pitches, finding the spot and getting the out.
Clay Branson, the batter, she will ground out to Johns at third, and Drotar battles back. It is Kentucky Fork. Kentucky trying to rally the crowd here at Carolina Softball Stadium as the Gamecocks trail Kentucky 4-1. Both teams with 5 hits. The Gamecocks with 1 error. Kentucky yet to commit a miscue in the field. Kentucky winning game 1 on Friday, a complete game shutout for Humes. 5-0 win for the Wildcats, snapping South Carolina's 15-game win streak. And then on Saturday, Grace Baldwin getting a complete game. And the Kentucky Bats were on fire, especially with 2 outs, as they posted 11 runs on 11 hits to win 11-2. They've got the 4-1 lead here as Shortman continues to deal going into the 6th. She's only thrown 77 pitches. Kennedy Clark the leadoff for Carolina with Lauren Stewart on deck.
If you're Coach Lawson, you've really liked the performance that you've gotten from your pitchers along with the defense, but she's not had to bring in a relief pitcher at any game, so she's got 3 pitchers that right now are going to all carry their own games, and on top of that, they've been very efficient doing so.
Fly ball to center, tracked down easily by Kowalik. Brings up Lauren Stewart. Gamecocks getting their only run today, courtesy of Lauren. Back in the 2nd inning, leading off with a home run to left center field for Stewart. It's home run number 3 of the season. RBI number 14. She's 2 for 2 today. Had the triple on Saturday. Stewart, the top Gamecock at the plate this weekend against these Kentucky pitchers.
You can see a little bit different change in pitching strategy as the innings have gone on, and particularly for this game, I'm seeing Shorman starting first pitches off with change-ups quite a few times, and I think that just speaks to, I mentioned it before, about making an adjustment when you have hitters that are being aggressive early in the count, and South Carolina has, because of how the Kentucky pitchers have been throwing how many first pitch strikes. So Shorman's strategy here is to mix in an off-speed pitch on that first pitch, which is something that most hitters, they don't want to hit unless they have to most of the time, and it's not something that they're necessarily expecting.
4 pitches and a walk as Lauren Stewart takes first. 3rd walk of the day. And this is the first time that the Gamecocks have not led off an inning, getting the leadoff batter on as Kennedy Clark flew out to center field. So 1 out for Carly Heath, the freshman who struck out looking in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 4th. Paints the outside. Gamecocks have had 10 base runners on this game, but have only scored 1 run. 86 pitches now for Shorman. Runner going, pitch is high. It is a ball and a stolen base. Good aggressiveness there by Bev Smith and Lauren Stewart and the Gamecocks, because you've got to get some runners in scoring position here.
Absolutely.
And a tough pitch to steal on, too.
Sure, because you're leading Shaper up out of her stance into a better throwing position. It's easier for her to throw as the ball's moving up. Stewart just got a good jump on that.
Stewart 6 for 6 now in stolen bases. So the Gamecocks with a runner in scoring position. Today, 1 hit in 9 at-bats, 9 tries rather, with runners in scoring position and no RBIs. Heath stays alive. Count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes. On deck, Haley Simpson. She's driven in a couple of runs this weekend, Simpson has. Good take. And it's first and second, back-to-back walks. Brings up Haley Simpson, another of these Gamecock freshmen in the bottom of the lineup, but we might have a pitching change. Let's see. There's no activity in the Kentucky bullpen, but she just took the ball away from the starter Shorman. We'll tell you who the new pitcher will be when we come back. It's 4-1 Wildcats. Welcome back to Columbia. It's going to be Autumn Humes entering the ball game. You see what she did on Friday as the starter. Complete game shutout. Just giving up 2 hits walking only 2 batters and striking out 5 in 95 total pitches. The junior out of Bald Knob, Arkansas. She was the 2017 NCAA Division II Freshman of the Year when she was at Harding University. This will be her 11th appearance of the season. See her numbers. This is a save opportunity. She has 1 career save, 14 career wins.
Humes is going to throw in 62 to 64. She has great spin. She's going to get ahead in the zone, or she did at least on Friday. She's going to mix a curve, rise, drop, and an off speed. Her performance on Friday was actually one of the best performances that Coach Lawson has seen her pitch. And considering the weather conditions with the rain that she had to throw in, that really is saying a lot. I spoke to her after that game yesterday morning, and she said she just focused on spin. She didn't want to force the ball. She just wanted to trust her snap. She said that the team was on a high coming off Friday's win, and they were ready to take the series, and I think they've done just that. Well, not take the series, excuse me, but they've come in on a high. Right. Let me clarify.
She inherits runners on first and second with 1 out. And Haley Simpson, the batter, she did not see Humes on Friday as she was not in the Gamecocks order against Humes.
She's coming in a completely different situation from starting a game. She's coming in and has runners that are not hers left on base, save situation. She's just trying to throw strikes and get outs right now.
2 outs. Runners will still be first and second. It's a good play by Humes to immediately go to third. She knew what she had to do. She already is thinking ahead, knowing the situation, what's going on in the
and you can tell just by the aggressive mentality that Kentucky defense is playing with that they do not want South Carolina to score any more runs. So they're going to go after those lead runners.
So Simpson reaches on the fielder's choice. Advancing to second is Carly Heath. And now it's Madison Owens, the 9-hole hitter for Carolina. Tying run aboard with 2 outs. So Owens representing the potential tying run at the plate. Owens with 2 home runs this year. Autumn Humes, she has only given up 1 home run the entire season. Swing and a miss. Humes strikes out Madison Owens, and the Gamecocks leave more runners on base. We go to the 7th with Kentucky still up 4-1. Kentucky trying to sweep South Carolina to open SEC play here in 2019, and they hold on to a 4-1 lead. The Gamecocks have had their chances. They've had runners on. It's just been really good pitching, clutch pitching when Shorman needed it, and then Humes coming on. And it's been good play in the infield, especially a couple of double plays. South Carolina just unable to get the job done with runners in scoring position, but you've got to give a lot of that credit to Kentucky. So it's Drotar to remain for Carolina here in the 7th. And Drotar will have Rainwater here, who is 0 for 2 this series. Just got word that the South Carolina baseball team got the sweep over Valparaiso, and TJ Hopkins, Gamecock senior center fielder, hit for the cycle Megan, he got the triple that he needed in his last at-bat, so he got the hardest one to get if you're going to get the cycle. He got it in his last at-bat. As Kayla Drochar goes for 100 pitches now, 60 have been strikes, 40 balls. You should see the pitch breakdown there.
Congratulations to him. That's not easy to do. And I saw in the baseball world, Florida State's baseball coach, 2,000 wins as a head coach, the only one in NCAA history. I can't even fathom 2,000 wins. That's incredible.
Coach Frazier's been there a long, long time.
Her name was Mike Martin?
Yeah, Mike Martin, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Frazier was at Southern Cal, I believe. But yeah, Martin, however, has yet to win the national championship, so I think that's what
I think I'll take 2,000 wins over that one time.
Really?
2,000 wins is a lot of wins.
Yeah, it's better than one, isn't it? 4-1 Wildcats. As Rainwater, the batter, with a 2-2 count. And TJ Hopkins is the Gamecock that kind of single-handedly beat the Clemson Tigers in the series.
Okay.
In 2019. So
all right.
He's got to be one of your favorite guys.
I wasn't going to say it, but all right. Speaking of wins, Coach Lawson for Kentucky just got her 500th win this past week.
That is going to find a hole in the outfield as Stewart gave it a go. Trying to make the diving catch, and Rainwater leads off the Kentucky 7th with a double. Really no chance there for Stewart. That was going to be in there regardless. You got to give her credit for laying out, trying to make a big play.
Well, and she was safe to do that because you had Haley Simpson coming over from right field to be there on the backup. So as the ball gets by her, you've got backup. If there's no one over there, it's not really smart to make a diving play like that unless you know you're going to get it. Of course, we always think we are going to get it, right?
That's right. Top of the order, Jenny Shaper. Gamecock fans reacting to that call by Robert Guess, the home plate umpire, and I believe they like that one.
And you might, I would question that too. That's a nice pitch, but I just get more hesitant to question pitches because in the past year and a half, I've really gotten to integrate in with the umpires and learn more about their craft and what they do. And I can promise you that they have so much they have to know, and particularly behind the plate that they have to watch, that I give them a little bit more credit. And they're going to have missed calls, but I guarantee you that they go, I know this for a fact, they review every game. In the SEC, the umpire coordinator, Christy Cornwell, does an excellent job of reviewing games with them, and these folks out here today in particular are high quality. They take this is a part-time profession for them. They take it very seriously, so I'm very hesitant to make any comment on a call, and I actually want to challenge broadcasters to sit and talk with umpires a little bit more before we make judgment calls sitting from the booth here. I think they need to learn a little bit more about the rules and the mechanics.
Read the rule book for one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I agree with you, and good job, Megan. You're a very, very competitive, fiery pitcher, but it shows that as you get older, you're a little bit wiser and reflect back and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and that's what sports does for you.
It does, and I just got a bing there right in the knee. But, just to kind of finish that thought there, Birch, I caught myself about a year ago making a comment about a call, and I'll joke. No, don't get me wrong, I'll still joke. But I thought, if I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to make a call on a pitch or a play, I want to know what I'm talking about, and I want to know from their perspective. And so I just found myself getting into their world a little bit, and they have allowed me to do that. And it has changed my perspective 180 degrees. It's just amazing what you don't think about until you actually start talking to these folks and learning their craft, because I guarantee you we don't have a clue about what they do unless you've been there in the training that they go through.
That was going to be a tough play for McGuire. Even if she would have fielded the ball cleanly into her glove, she had to charge in, make a long run in too, and do it quickly with a left-handed batter who runs very, very well. That's an infield hit.
Yeah, that's a tricky ball, tricky bounce there. More times it hits the ground, more likely it's going to do something. You see Coach Smith just trying to calm the defense down a little bit. You're in this last inning. You need to get in and get out. And now they find themselves in a bit of predicament here with Cheeks and Martens coming up.
And I want to go back and expound on your comment about putting yourself in the umpire's shoes. And I kind of wish, too, that folks would put themselves in the shoes of student athletes that are 19, 20 years old, what they have to do, in the classroom to balance their studies, their social life, with what they're passionate about playing whatever sport it is, before you
Absolutely.
react to what they're doing on the basketball court or the tennis court or the baseball or softball diamond.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get caught up in this is a game. I think that we as fans get caught up in a game, whether we're talking about umpires, coaches, or athletes, and you have to remember that life isn't life. This is a game, this is a sport, and we've got to talk to folks.
McGuire gets the play there as Kenzie McGuire, she is a top-level shortstop.
She's got such good range here. I mean, look, cutting off up the middle and still being able to make the play.
A run gets across, though.
It does, but hey, now you're sitting with 2 outs.
Yes.
You think about the damage that could have been done there.
Here is Alex Martens. Runner on third, 2 outs. High pop-up. Stewart calls off Kenzie McGuire to get out number 3. Kentucky adds 1 more run. South Carolina, their last chance coming up when we return. Bottom of the 7th inning we go with South Carolina trailing Kentucky 5-1. Kentucky with 7 hits, no errors. Carolina with 5 hits today. 1 error in the field. And it's Autumn Humes who started this weekend series with a complete game 2-hit shutout over South Carolina. Back in the circle. Try to get the save. She wants to get save number 2 of her career and give Shorman her 3rd win of the season, as Humes came in to face Simpson and Owens in the 6th. She struck out Madison Owens to end that inning, and now the Gamecocks have the top of the order, Kenzie McGuire, then Mackenzie Bozel and Jana Johns. If you're the Gamecocks, you feel like you're still very much in this ball game with a chance to walk it off with who you have coming up.
Hey, you're in a great spot if you're the Gamecocks in terms of where you are in the lineup. And I've said it all weekend, you can't count the Gamecocks out until the game is over. They have staged many late inning comebacks. They have shown a better outing overall today. When you look at the hits and the way they've made contact, I know they're still struggling, but again, Kentucky has come out and played solid ball.
Yes, 3-1 count. Strike called. And McGuire will have to come back. She thought she was going to get ball 4 called there. Home plate umpire Robert Guest says not so fast.
Yes, sir.
Good play by the shortstop, Katie Reed, as that had gotten underneath the glove of the pitcher Humes. Reed took that as it was going to be her ball to begin with and gets the first out of the inning. Gamecocks down to their final 2.
Reed showing off that arm that she's got too. Had a solid game over there, a solid series.
There's Mackenzie Bozel. 0 for 3 today. 2 flyouts to center and 1 to left. Hit hard over the second baseman's head into right field for a base hit, and it's a 1-out single for Carolina and Mackenzie Bozel, her first hit of the day.
Bozel's been making better contact on the ball today. Seems to be seeing the ball very well. This looks like off speed from Humes. I was just checking on the replay to see. Bozel does a good job staying back on that.
So Jenna Johns now. Hit by a pitch and a single. Kayla Drotar stands on deck. Just foul. Down the third base line, and it will be another 1-2 count here coming up. Or it makes the count 1 ball, 2 strikes rather. Humes facing
1-1.
Jenna Johns for the first time here today. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Playable for the first baseman, and there are 2 outs now.
1 more catch.
Gamecocks down to their last at-bat for Kayla Drotar. South Carolina down to the last out here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Drotar trying to keep this game going. Carolina just needs to string some hits together.
We've seen Kentucky do it all weekend, and I always say anything's possible in a game anyway, right?
That's right.
Especially when you're in conference.
But you've got Humes, who is just fantastic this weekend. In the circle, makes it hard. South Carolina, 13 hits this weekend, 3 runs. This staff for Kentucky has been phenomenal. Humes, Ballman, and then today Shorman. Kentucky offensively 20 runs on 24 hits. Third baseman has it, and that's going to do it as Abby Cheek, the South Carolina native, throws it over to Mallory Payton for the third and final out, and it's the sweep for the Kentucky Wildcats. What an offensive performance and just dominant pitching as well.
Yeah, Kentucky definitely came to play, and I think they maybe caught South Carolina a little bit by surprise, although I will say South Carolina looked a little bit better at the plate today, but hats off to Kentucky. Very well played series, very well earned.
Kentucky 3-0 in SEC play, 15-7 overall. South Carolina 0-3 in SEC play now. They go to 18-5. For our entire crew in Columbia, for my wonderful broadcast partner, Dr. Megan Matthews-Bunning, I'm Birch Antley saying so long from Carolina Softball Stadium. We'll talk to you next time.